Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 437 at scavengerlife.com.
Let me bring you back behind the curtain. Curtains are opening.
Yes.
The way this podcast works is I have a Google document that Ryan and I share for the outline of this podcast. And during the week, as things happen, I'll write little notes. As we talk about things on the forum, I'll write notes. If I just have a kooky idea while I'm driving around, I'll write notes.
Yep.
And Ryan can check out this outline anytime she wants, but she's doing other things. So I'm assuming that you don't ever really see the outline.
Sometimes I'll add things here and there if I'm like, oh, there was a link in an email that I blah, blah, blah.
So last week, I opened with a fairly provocative statement. Where I said, this is our worst year ever. And part of it was to be provocative,
Look, you stirred up things between you and I just saying that.
So. I want to let people know that actually during last week's podcast, we had to stop and we had a long argument.
Fight in quote. Fight.
Argument, disagreement.
Yes.
And then we picked it back up. And we talked about, I always wonder, because I think we recorded it, I always wonder if we should just play it through. I think I'm afraid to scare children.
We've done it before.
Have we?
Scare children. There was one episode where we had it. It was, the one episode we kept it in was a mild disagreement.
Right. And the reason why is because I think I started with this provocative statement that Ryan hadn't been expecting. And it's scary. I'm like, this is our worst year on eBay. And kind of the subtext is eBay going to fail for us? Is this is this business that we've invested a lot of time and money into and infrastructure not going to work anymore? And we have to rethink our life. And I think that's where, as we were going through the podcast, it was building up in you, and then we had to we had to stop and fight about it.
I mean, part of it is I now have 2 part-time helpers helping me with eBay.
Right.
So I'm paying people to help me do this stuff, and you're like, it's failing. Right. And I'm like, then what are we doing?
So let's take a breath.
Yeah.
So again, let's acknowledge it was a provocative statement, although I think it is kind of true. This has not been our best year on eBay. Yeah. And it might actually be our lowest year while we've been kind of full-time.
Right, full-time ramped up.
Not like the early years.
So let's think of it just real quick in a graph form where you're revenue going up. Not, double, but you're up, up, and not up. It's that kind of year where you're and down.
So... And let's also acknowledge it's sometimes difficult to share a business week to week. I mean, it is pretty kind of kooky. We're talking about trying to be as transparent as we can about our business. And there's ups and downs, and it doesn't always feel good to talk about when things are down. And I think there are some people that like it when we talk about it's down because they're like, haha, we told you.
Well, I definitely saw that in the comments.
But that's fine.
On YouTube.
Hey, it's all good. We're in it for the long haul. So
yeah.
I just want to say, though, in reality, we made money last week. Our numbers actually weren't that bad.
Right.
But, so it's not like we're going to go broke. Mm-hmm. And also, I think we did talk about, that podcast allowed us to kind of talk throughout the week about eBay. Yeah. And I think we're kind of just saying to ourselves, we may just be okay with eBay being kind of slow for us this year. Because the other option is, do we start trying to change things and do selling on different places? Are we going to start scavenging more? Because people did point out, it's not a big surprise. You guys are not scavenging as much, mm-hmm. and not putting up brand new stuff as much.
All the time, yeah.
And so, of course, your store is getting a little bit older with more long tail items. So it's not a big surprise. And I agree with that. I've always said that,
But I feel like we've had periods of the year in past years where we also are we literally took a 3-month break. Right. But I wasn't I made no money. It didn't feel the same.
But see, Ryan, we're not making no money. That's what I'm trying to get at. So,
okay.
Anyway.
That's your point.
Follow along. So, Ryan is not looked at the outline again, so she's not following my train of thought.
Where's it going?
So, my train of thought is, how about this? I am saying maybe it's okay if eBay is not as great for us for the rest of this year,
Yeah.
3 more months or whatever. Because, stop. Let me finish. Because we have so many other things going on that we're putting our time into. And for me, I'm having more fun now than I've ever had in all of our adventures together. Because of all these things we're doing,
right?
That we're actually not talking about right now. Which I'm not trying to be like I hate it. Like, I don't mean to be like big secret, but it's just like until these things are real.
Yeah.
But all the things we're trying to do is so fun.
Yeah.
That I'm okay with eBay not being like super amazing, great.
Am I allowed to talk now?
Now you're allowed to talk.
Okay. I have felt that way for about a year, where we are trying to juggle a lot of things. So it's, not a good idea for us to be like, eBay's slow. Well, you're not focusing on eBay. You're focusing on finishing renovations. I mean, this commercial building on Main Street is a massive job. So you're just like, and I have a video contract job that's, we have it together. It takes a lot of our time. And you're like,
yep.
Something's got to give. I have helpers.
Yep.
And they help me keep this thing afloat.
Yep.
And that, you're right. We just have to be like, it's still good.
That was on it's recording. You're right. Okay.
Oh my God. So
and it's interesting. 2 people who are totally unrelated recently have called us risky. Which I thought was interesting. They said because we're willing to put our own money into what we believe in.
Yeah.
Instead of using other people's money, which I guess is how some other investors do it.
Yeah, sure.
They said that's really risky. But for me, it's like we like to answer to no one but ourselves.
Yeah. I
think for me, I'm into like, I'll take all the a risk, but I want all the profit.
Yes.
And really, like, what else is money for? In our lives, like
I'm not even gonna go. I have like a whole like philosophical rant in the back of my head, but what is it all for? You're gonna die in like 50 years, so just do what makes sense.
And I only say that because that's kind of where we're at right now, is that we've kind of built up eBay and this rental business, and we've amassed some money, and we're using that money right now to maybe start some cool things in our lives with other people. That is so exciting to me, and I guess it is risky in a way. But it's fun.
I'm putting my hand up. I'm like,
Ryan, go. I'm calling on you.
Okay, like, sure, other people are like, that's risky. But to me, it is, like, very calculated risk. Like, this is the things that we are, like, we just bought something that was very expensive for our building. It's a thing that's gonna make another business, okay? I don't know what else to say.
I think you're making it worse.
I know, but I have to say this because we were like, this is a thing that's expensive. We're trying to build this other business. We don't know if it's going to happen. We're pretty sure it's going to happen. But if it doesn't, I'm going to sell that thing.
Right.
So it doesn't really matter.
Because we were scavengers and got a really good deal on it. Right.
So it's like, this thing is worth a lot more than we paid anyway. So, like I said, that's risky and it's scary. And it was a really difficult decision to be like, we have to buy this thing.
Yeah.
Right? And at the same time, I'm like, but I'm a reseller.
Yep.
So I just resell it.
Right.
If all goes, in the toilet, which it won't. Sideways.
When this goes sideways.
Upside down.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So that's what I want to say about risk.
So where are we at with eBay? So we do have another business, a rental business. And people are like, well, if you didn't have that rental business, then you couldn't pay for it at your life, so eBay's not successful. But to me, it's like, if we didn't have this other rental business, which we have mortgages on properties and expenses associated with it, we also wouldn't need its profit. So if we just had, if we never got into that other business, if we had our house paid off, because when we started eBay, we had bought our house.
Our house is paid off.
It was paid off.
Yeah.
We just have our daily expenses.
Right.
Basically, it's about a couple $1,000 a month. We could still survive just on eBay.
So let's break it down real quick.
It's kind of like it's good in both senses.
So here's the deal. eBay pays for us. It pays for other things, but
buys your cat food.
Just the cat's got to eat, right? And then the rental businesses pay for themselves. So you're like, take that out of the equation, we're fine.
Yeah.
You know, so
I've just been, when eBay has been good for us, eBay's actually been able to help pay for
the extra stuff.
Yeah. Like that's how we built that rental business.
We shift money around. Sure. We're like, okay, well, this bank account's paying for this right now, but you know, that's what it should be. It should pay for itself. You shouldn't be supplement sometimes, but not always.
Are we ready to solve our eBay issues right now?
Sure, I would love to.
Okay, number one. We've done good because eBay has bought us time.
Yes.
You know? We're busy working on other things, which is great. Like, that's what we wanted to happen. eBay bought us time.
Yep.
We can use that time for other things. Some people spend it with their grandkids or homeschool their children or, you know, they have hobbies, whatever. So
hobbies?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're still making enough on eBay for a decent full-time income. You know? Like, when we do our taxes, it's going to be like a full-time income, you know, from that thing. Okay. But for me right now, tell me if I'm wrong, it's like this is the long game. And we've earned that long game because we've built this eBay infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Are you ready to hear the infrastructure that we've built?
Yes.
Because we haven't really talked about this, I don't know, on the podcast, but I think this needs to be said. Instead of it just being me and you taking photos and listing and shipping. And, okay, we now have photos and the listings taken care of. Right. We have a helper who's now doing that.
I still do list the listings, but
But she writes them all and does item specifics and titles.
Love it.
And she's been doing that for a year now.
A year.
So that's like solid.
A year or more.
Yeah. Shipping.
Yep.
We just recently, in the past month or so, started teaching another helper how to ship. And we're like 50% solved. Yeah. Right? Like
we're close. I mean, we're starting to do inventory numbers, bin numbers, and shelf numbers, so that's going to help. But there was a day last week where I couldn't go help her find stuff because I was in the middle of a meeting.
Right.
She found everything.
Right. So it's 50% solved because she's not on like she's coming pretty regularly, but we're trying to get it in her like a permanent kind of time schedule. And we actually sent her like a proposal, like we would like to hire you for a certain amount of time. And she's trying to see if she can fit that into her life. So we're almost there.
Yeah.
Inventory. We're like 5% solved on that.
Yeah.
Or it's 100% solved, but 5%
it's not implemented.
Of the implementation. Exactly. But we finally, after we've been talking about this for years, have a system. It's all laid out.
It wasn't even that painful. I'm like, it wasn't
in our
even
warehouse.
that bad.
And it's going to take about 6 months of work.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe less, but I'll give it 6 months.
Yeah.
And so that's fine. So this is exciting to me. Like, we've actually been getting our infrastructure where we will be able to buy stuff, bring it back, put it on the floor.
Yeah, we lay it out on the floor.
And basically, it will just come out on eBay, and it sells, and someone else sells it and ships it. I mean, we'll still have to kind of be around the edges and, but we're actually able to get to that point.
What's so great actually is for us too, when we go away, we don't have to put this massive, we haven't been going away for long chunks of time, but 2 weeks, we don't have to put this massive handling time. I'm like, come over every couple of days, ship this stuff. I'll extend the handling time a little bit, but that's amazing.
And have that thing where we come back and it's 3 days of shipping.
Of 150, whatever.
And I will say too, I mean, this has been there for a while, but we have to also acknowledge we have a storage building.
Yes. That's infrastructure.
Specifically for eBay.
Physical
that
infrastructure.
Can keep growing. Like there's still plenty of space. I mean,
we're reorganizing it, making sure it makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's those kind of things. Is eBay isn't the best for us this year. Mm-hmm. There are reasons, so in quote,
air quotes, reasons.
And the question is, do we want to like take the time we've earned and like throw it back into eBay and figure out why and like try and get eBay back up to the numbers we want? Or do we be okay with the way eBay is now? It's not bad, not awesome. Mm-hmm. And use that time to do all these things that are the most fun I've had since we've been together.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a little bit crazy. Yeah, sure. Those are the questions, right?
Yep.
You're like, which one?
Okay, so let's talk about eBay this week. I noticed a couple things. I don't know if this is new, but again, I love how helpful it is. When someone buys an item, and when you look at your sold page, the buyer's note is right there.
Finally.
On the item.
Finally.
And I don't know if I've mentioned that before or how new
it's
that
new.
is.
I don't know how new.
It's so helpful.
Because look, this is where you would see a buyer's note. If the buyer wasn't contacting you directly, which they should have been, but if they're like, oh, my address has changed, or thanks so much, whatever
or
the note
please pack this really carefully.
Yeah, like they're being obsessive about packing, whatever. That note was in the email that PayPal sent you. Random. Don't know why it was there. Okay, so if you didn't see it there, then it was on the order page. So most likely you're going into the order page to print the label, but sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're doing bulk shipping. Sometimes you're printing your label on pirate ship or wherever. You're not going to see that. But now on the orders page that I look at anyway, it's like, here's a note from the buyer. It's like
right there, right?
eBay.
You don't have to click. It's nice. So it's good. Good going, eBay. Thumbs up. Okay.
Yeah.
Someone on the forum mentioned eBay Send.
Yeah.
It's this new, I guess it's new, this new postal thing that eBay has. And a lot of us were confused, like, are they going to get rid of global shipping? And basically it says this. If you ship to international buyers directly, not using eBay global shipping program.
Right.
So you're just doing it direct.
First class to England.
Yeah. You can select the eBay Send option as an economical choice to deliver your product. You can take the package to any postal drop-off location and arrange a regular package pickup. Tracking will be automatically uploaded on eBay and tracked to the final destination.
So is it different than USPS priority or first class?
I don't understand.
I mean,
really.
it's USPS because they're like, give it to the post office. But are they, I wonder, I have to read like the fine print where it's like, it's got to be those countries where they have full tracking, even on first class, like the UK.
I mean, I think that's why people like us are always hesitant to send things first class to other countries, is because very often tracking isn't good or doesn't exist, or it stops in customs and then it doesn't pick up again. Yeah. And then the buyer's like, where's my item? And all we can say is, it's in customs for 6 weeks. And then, and
that's why I love global shipping.
Yeah.
But global shipping for the buyer, wherever they are, is expensive.
Right. But, but also the reason why we love global shipping is because all the upfront costs are there. This is your import taxes and your country's
customs taxes,
your
VAT
country
taxes.
Expects you to pay all this stuff, and if you just send it first class,
you're going to pay it when it gets there.
It seems real cheap, and they're real happy, and then it gets to their country, and their country's post office says, "Okay, come pick it up, but you got to pay another $20," and they're upset, like
they're mad at me.
Why didn't you tell me I had to pay this money? I'm like,
all the time.
It's not my fault. So I wonder if eBay Send is somehow trying to solve that problem. I don't know. If you know, let us know.
We'll see.
Then we'll all know. Okay, so let's talk about our numbers this week. Are you ready?
I have no idea.
We sold 37 items, which doesn't seem like a whole lot. I mean,
37's
about
almost
10
40.
items more from a week ago.
Okay.
So it's not a whole lot more.
Yeah.
But we made almost twice as much. We made $1,560.
Thank goodness.
71 cents.
71 cents. That's helpful.
Yeah. So, and the reason why is because we just sold more expensive items.
More things that were $100.
And again, we didn't do anything differently. It's just this week people were willing to pay more money for
stuff.
items, which is awesome. And a lot of it was the long tail stuff. So
yeah, some of it was old long tail stuff.
So for instance, we sold 2 plates.
Yeah.
Like plates that you eat off of or serve.
Like serving platters.
For $200.
$100 each.
Yep.
This lady sent me an offer the first 10 minutes I listed it. And that's always, to me, a sign like, oh.
Well, you put up 1 plate.
Right.
She gave us an offer, or she bought it outright, right?
I think she bought it outright.
Yeah, because we put it at $100 and she bought it. And then we had another one you did a couple days afterwards and you put it up for $200.
I was hoping other people would want it, but she was...
And then she gave us an offer. We we countered with a higher, and then a couple more days went by, and she offered again. And you were wanting to really hold out, but the thing is, no one else was watching it. There weren't a lot of views on it, so it wasn't like it was some magical item.
It's like she wanted it. Plus, she's a collector.
Plus, we were hungry, so that was nice. But that does go to what people talk about when you're always scavenging and putting stuff up. These kind of items
sell fast.
There's always and I'm just pulling this out of my head. It's like there's always 10 or 15% of items that sell right away for whatever.
Yeah, and it's not always it was the most special, rarest, whatever. It's like there's a collector. They have a search out. They get the ping, and they're like, I want this.
Right. Pair of boots sold for $100. Another pair of boots sold for $70.
Yep.
So boots are always fun to steal.
I mean, it's also snowing in some places of the country. So
we sold this this is just so random. Talking about long tail, this old exercise. It's like a rubber
exercise band.
Yeah, exercise band, but it's from the 30s, and it's in this cool box.
And we sold it once before, years ago, and this person was like, this isn't usable. And we're like, it's not to be used. It's decor. So we put that on the listing.
Right. We had to she actually said, this item, I can't use this. I'm like, it's from the 30s. lady. Go to Walmart. And so so it sold again for $80 to someone in South America.
They're in Brazil, yeah.
So what is this person going to do with it?
I don't know. They might be having some weird Americana decor. I'm hoping they're... Yeah. Look, if it were actual exercise equipment, I don't think they would have paid the shipping to get it down there. Right. Or it paid $80 for it. I'm like, it must be a collector of I don't know. Antiques and whatever.
Stock pot, $70.
This is a copper made in France. Yeah. It wasn't a stock pot. It's a little pan.
Little pot.
It's tiny, 10 inches or whatever.
It's the exact opposite of a stock pot.
It's a tiny pot. Yeah. But it had brass handles.
People love that copper.
$75. I took an offer though. I wanted $125, of course. But I'm like, $75.
We sold a poster, a vintage political poster for $95. This is one we got in auction a while ago. People have been giving us offers over time, and we've been trying to hold out for a really high price, and then we got this $95 offer.
You're just take it.
I'm a hungry man this week, and I was like, let's just take it.
This poster's huge. It's as big as me. It's 6 feet tall. Right. I mean, it's folded up, thank God.
But this is one of those examples where, it's a really weird, rare item without any comps. So we put it up really high.
I think I put it up for $299.
And then we've been getting offers, and we've been getting about $100 is about the range. And then it's just our choice. Do we just take that offer that everyone seems to be sending?
Or do we sit on it forever? Yeah. Which I do sometimes.
Yep. Scavenge of the week.
I got some stuff.
Yeah.
What did I get? Nothing handful.
But this is a good example. We're always doing a little bit of scavenging here and there, but we're not doing huge.
Well, what's funny is when you do
dump truck scavenging.
Little scavenging, and you pick up things here and there, and you're like, yeah, it's pretty good stuff. But then when you find something, you're like, oh, this is more interesting than I thought. Yep. That's always fun.
Customer issues, and really none, just a couple returns, but just normal.
Doesn't
people
fit.
People change their mind, whatever.
I mean,
it's all good.
Doesn't fit, didn't work for me, blah, blah, blah. You're like, bummer, but it wasn't my fault.
that's the life.
Yeah.
So things we talked about in the forum. So this, just real quick, Ryan, this is like another kind of political or philosophical conversation.
Political or philosophical?
It's not political. It's philosophical.
Philosophical. Okay.
So
that's fine.
yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of people were talking about, because I did the you know, that this is our worst year ever, eBay, it's all falling, and then people love that conversation. So, you know, people are saying, yeah, it is slow, and like, you know, what are the differences? And people are linking to articles about how like scavenging is really popular.
Yeah.
Like someone said, like it's a real trend now to like give people like gift cards to thrift stores,
Which is,
you know?
I love that.
Or like a guy who I email with, Jim. Hey, Jim. He says like he went to an auction in his like a rural area, and he was like, you know, normally it's just like, you know, the old guys.
Yeah, totally.
They're like, you know, there's like the guy who's into coins, and that guy's into like tools, and he's like, there were actually like all these like younger 20 and 30s people with their phone, and they're like buying stuff, you know, and so he's saying like, you know, it's changing. So we're all talking about that.
Yep, totally.
And to me, the question is, here are the questions. If scavenging is no longer a secret, you know, selling online, so will people keep donating large quantities of good items instead of selling them themselves? You know? Are people going to keep taking their SUVs and just dumping out brand new items?
My answer is yes.
Okay.
I think a majority of people are like, I don't have time to sell 25 things on Facebook.
You know, is shopping at thrift stores this trend? Is it going to go away? You know, like is an ebb and flow, and we just happen to be at the height where like it's cool to go shopping at thrift stores, and the thrift stores have raised their prices because they know they can. And, you know, I don't know. Will all these new scavengers that are starting online stores, you know, are they here for the long term?
Right.
You know, I can see that, because really on YouTube, we started seeing all those kind of gurus come online a couple of years ago, and I think that we're now trying to. I think we see that now people are trying out these things, and the question is, are they here to stay? You know,
right?
It's a tough business, and if we're having smaller sales, they're having smaller sales, and like who can actually stick it out,
right?
You know?
Well, I think that's true. I mean, that's just true with any business where people are like, "Hi, Kat, you're visiting us." You know,
I shouldn't be in the podcast.
She is now. You know, when business is hard, you know, like not having a paycheck is hard. I mean, we've seen a lot of scavengers be like, oh, I got a really good job offer, I'm just going to go do that, which is fine. Right. So, you know, I feel like, number one, in the overall scheme of the world, it's not a bad thing that like people are thinking scavenging is cool. I'm like, yes.
I was trying to, I mean, we have like 400 and something episodes. I was trying to find an earlier episode we did like a long time ago, and we actually asked that. The topic was, what happens if scavenging goes away, or you know, if
you can't find anything.
You know, what happens if people are actually not giving away good items for free, which is crazy, and what happens if everyone, instead of buying brand new items, are just buying you know, gently you know, used items. And I think the answer is, we'd be happy, because it'd be such a different society, be a different world. It wouldn't be as much waste, and we'd figure out other ways to make a living.
Well, here's a side note. I don't know if this is on the outline, since
it can be.
haven't looked at it.
It can be.
There was some article about, like, in quotes, YouTube and online and like Instagram gurus who aren't actually making the money they talk about, where they're like, I made $1 million. I bought a $5 million house. And there's these, what do they call, baller busters. Because people say that's
I'm a
what
baller.
It's called.
And then it wasn't specifically about people that sell online. It's also just these gurus who are just like, I'll just show you how to make,
like marketing gurus.
Just like, kind of like you can be a rich person without really doing anything, and they take pictures in front of like fancy cars, and they're in like
and it's like rented cars,
fancy houses, and you know, there's obviously now blowback. So there's a group of people who do a research into like, is this person really rich? Are they really making the kind of money they make? And they prove that he's staying in like an Airbnb and taking photos, acting like it's his. He's renting a fancy car, acting like it's his.
So the reason I bring that up is because, you know, there is that trend of, you know, people saying, oh, you're going to make all this money online and here's my haul video. And you're like, but how much did you sell that for?
HAUL.
Right. So haul. Yeah. So you're like, that is still happening. Right. So I feel like that kind of like bloats the world.
Right. And so this goes to like further kind of deeper things is, you know, are there more people jumping in trying to make a quick buck?
Right.
Like, you know, they're like, I sold a purse for $100. So now everything I find, I'll sell quickly, you know?
Yeah, and for a lot.
It's like the delusion.
Right.
And then that delusion will quickly go away. Or are there actually a lot more people who are understanding, like all of us, that this is a job? They're willing to put in the work to create a home business where they're putting items online consistently, good customer service. They're building a storage area, and they're willing to hold on to items longer. You know, things don't get flipped in a day. You know, they can write out the ups and downs of sales. They know they're not going to get rich, but they're building like a mom and pop store. You know, that's the question. Because if there's more of those kind of people, it is going to be tough because you know, there's more of us actually solid understanding this is a business. If it's just a lot of people trying to get some quick cash, those people are going to easily get flushed out because they're not going to be able to pay their bills. Well, it's not consistent.
I mean, it can't be consistent. Yeah, sure. I mean, these are questions we always have, you know, and with the popularity of more and more platforms, it feels scary.
But for us, I guess after a week ago of being very controversial, this is like the adult podcast, and that is, you know what, we built this infrastructure, it's here, we're building even better infrastructure, we're solid, like we can write out the ups and downs, we're okay with how things are now, and I'm ready to rock, Ryan.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Me too.
How do you like that?
That's great.
How do you like that? Okay, let's go to the... Hey, do you have anything else?
Anything else to add?
Because the outline has been squeezed dry.
That's fine. We can take calls and questions that people sent in. You can email us an audio file from your phone, which always sounds like you're in the room with us.
If you're not driving.
If you're not, please don't drive. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com. You can also call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486.
Okay. One of your callers in the last show talked about having a glitch for global shipping. I recently had a glitch. I do global shipping. Sometimes I do global. Sometimes I just do straight international. This one, God, was global. Anyways, I went to print the label, and they're like, nah, the zip code's wrong. So I confirmed it with her. It was all good. I called eBay. They're like, yeah, that's good. It just wouldn't do it. It wouldn't accept it. It just kept popping up, and eBay had no explanation. They were just like, wow, that's weird. I did a whole nother listing. Well, I mean, I ended it for her. I relisted it to put just straight international shipping to see if that would help. But in the meantime, oddly, someone else bought it, like in that same hour and a half period, which is weird because it was an item that was just sitting there for like 4 months. So I wonder if that's an algorithm thing. Like, somebody's interested. No, now somebody else is. So I never did get it resolved, but I wanted to say that that was a problem, and eBay didn't know why. So I'm thinking it's a glitchy thing. Initially, when that happened, when I first started listing, I was lazy. I don't know the item details. It's not item, the shipping details. Like, I don't know. Just check that box. And so anytime something's sold globally, I couldn't print a label because they didn't have the weight and the dimension. So I learned quickly on that one. And that's not what this was. But initially I thought, oh crap, is that an old listing I didn't update? It was not. So there's no answer there, but I'm just saying it happened for real, and eBay didn't have an answer. And they thought it was strange. And the other thing is I don't do free returns, and I'm real smug about it. Like, well, I just don't do free returns, and I never get returns, and I don't. But I wonder if, and I'm kind of stubborn, so no matter what you say, I'm probably not going to change my mind. But I do wonder, do you get more sales with the free returns? Because for me, what I think of is, I would rather have less sales and no returns. I know, you guys are probably shaking your head and like booing me. But I don't get returns, and I think it's partly what I sell probably is part of it, maybe. I don't sell a lot of clothes, hardly any clothes. I think those are high return items. But it just, if the person just knows, I can buy this, and weren't you guys the ones that said somebody like just wanted to feel what cashmere felt like? So they bought it and then returned it. I mean, if you just have that open-ended, like, free for all, just buy it and you just no fuss, no mess, return it.
Okay, so you got cut off because you went to 3 minutes, but I want to just say a couple of things. I wish that I didn't have to do free returns. I totally don't want to ever accept returns. I do not disagree with you on that.
And you don't have to.
No, I know, but so when we had free returns turned off a couple weeks ago,
yeah,
I mean, that was like at the depths of like our lowest sales. So I turned it back on.
Yeah. I mean,
I also think that eBay gives a certain level of seller protection when you have it on. Like, I've been able to remove negative feedback. Yeah. We also sell a lot of clothes. So we do get returns on clothes, and that's true. She mentioned something about, wasn't it you guys that said someone wanted to see what it felt like to feel cashmere, and then they just sent it back? That was not us. That's never happened to us. It's mostly for fit. Yeah. It's mostly because it doesn't fit.
Right. Because we were actually talking on the forum that, especially in America, sizes are so wacky, especially for women's clothes, where every brand
has different sizing.
So
H&M different than Old Navy,
right? So that's why it's hard just to put like large or medium or
right. So I don't know. So what she's asking too is like, do we think free returns is equal to more sales? Like, does it? I don't know. I don't know the answer. But I was like, I'm just turning this back on because it stinks, but it's true. Whatever.
I do want to say something about global shipping. She was saying that there was a glitch, and everyone talks about glitches, and there does seem to be glitches from time to time. Someone on the forum said that they also had the same thing where someone bought it through global shipping, but they couldn't pay. And what they did, they changed the category, and then suddenly everything was okay. So I don't know if it was, but again, people come up with these like little wacky
what
things.
Was it?
Is that really the fix or not?
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I had an issue this week. Actually, it was, I don't know if this is related at all. It was a domestic shipment to Portland, Oregon, and they kept saying the zip code was wrong. Zip code wrong.
eBay said that.
Yeah, when I was trying to do the shipping label. Mm-hmm. And me and my helper were like, what do we do? Right. So I looked on Google Maps, zip code's correct. I took away the 4-digit, like it's like zip code plus 4-digit. I'm like, maybe that's wrong. Nope, wouldn't fix it. I had to print the label on PayPal.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I don't know what eBay's deal is. Now, the weird thing is, it was one of those shipments to a warehouse that ships internationally. Yep. So I'm like, I don't know if that's related, but it was a domestic address, a warehouse address, but
I mean,
weirdness.
It's not to give eBay any slack, but unfortunately there just seems to be these little things that happen to all of us, and you just do the best you can and try and get through it.
Well, actually, on an international sale of that rubber exercise thing, the guy was in Brazil, and he said, I think he sent an offer, or it was through the send offers thing. He was like, I'm trying to pay for this and I can't pay. And we were like, we don't know.
There's nothing we can do.
I have no idea why that would be happening.
Sorry, call eBay.
Yeah, he fixed it. Right. I don't know how, but so weirdness, nothing we can do about it.
We feel you.
Hi. After listening to your topic Sunday about eBay expectations, I have a topic that might be interesting. A lot of us quit eBay. I mean, a lot of us quit a job to do eBay so we could work at home and have, our own lives. what would we do if eBay failed? Shouldn't we be looking into now what we should do if something does? Have some kind of backup plan? If eBay, gets to where it's not making enough money for us to live on, what kind of backup plans? Maybe we can get some ideas what people would do at home to make money, to make the expenses. I just thought it'd be an interesting topic to get a different slant on what would we do until our eBay sales recover. Thank you so much. Love your podcast. Thank you. Bye.
I mean, yeah, that's a perfectly real thing to think about. If you've quit your job, if a person has quit their job and they're depending on eBay to make all their money to live, then I would be very worried if my sales didn't pay for my life,
Right.
And that's why, we didn't talk about it earlier, but, we know the numbers of our life, of what we need each month to pay everything we need to pay. And I'm still feeling good with what we're getting from eBay,
Right.
If not, we would have to start changing a lot more things and, make that happen. So,
well, look, what we've tried to do is to diversify our income for that. Not that only that reason, because
Right.
we just don't want to get bored.
Right.
But yeah, so what are other things you can do? Like, what's something that's also interesting to you?
Right.
Or are there other platforms? Like, people are really into trying other platforms,
But I think that the caller just makes a really good point, and I really like how she framed it. It's just like, if you're not making enough on eBay, and this is now your like full-time job, then the answer would be, then you need to figure something out instead of just complaining about eBay.
Right.
That's what we see, and that's what's so unfortunate, is that some people will then just spend their time, instead of figuring out different ways trying to solve their problems, they go on the eBay forums and they just complain, and eBay is killing them, and their lives are falling apart because of eBay. And it's like, even if eBay is a horrible place and eBay fails, ultimately that's not an excuse when they come and take your house. You have to figure it out.
Right.
So,
well, and also it's we say this when you're starting eBay and you want to quit your job. It's the same way with, doing eBay and hoping to get more income is like, you got to ramp it up. Like, just start now. Like, what's another thing you can do that's interesting if you can't just do eBay, if eBay is not just working for you, and start ramping that up, it's like.
And, if you search in our archives, we've done at least a handful of episodes about this. Like, if you quit your job to do eBay, cool. It doesn't mean you never have to do that job again.
Right.
What we've learned is like, you can then become a consultant in that same field.
Right.
And actually you could probably make a lot more because you have the right to say no to bad jobs. So if you're like a nurse, instead of being a full-time nurse, you could pick up shifts and make that overtime,
Right. Or travel and
or work
do
on
it
a Saturday night or something when nobody else wants to, and that's what the two of us have done. We talked about, we have a video job right now. It's paying really well because
we can just say yes or no.
Right, to things. And so we say, so we do it if it pays well. If it pays well,
and if we're like, we like this client.
So, that's the thing about doing your own business, is that the equation is yours to create. You get to figure out what goes in that equation, where the fun is, where the money is, where your time is.
Right.
It's up to you.
Right.
No one else to do it, and just do it. Just do it. I'm the motivational speaker.
Well, and also it's not always easy. Like, the other thing too that we always talk about when people are starting an eBay business is cut down on expenses. Like, if you have done eBay and you're like, this is how much everything costs, but maybe there's a little bit extra there because your sales were higher before.
Yeah. It's just, let me end this thing here. I hear it in my head of just like, I had this job, I got paid every week, I just kind of showed up, I didn't have to really think a whole lot about it, and I could pay my bills. And now I'm doing this thing where the money isn't consistent every week, and no one's telling me what to do, and I have to actually think about it, and it's up to me, and it's so different, and it's scarier. So you have to be up for that kind of scariness and make it something you want to do, or just go back and get a job and just clock in, and and there's nothing wrong with that either. It's like
choices, people.
And then we're all going to die.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I mean, it's true.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, what a way to end the podcast. You can check out our blog. We talk about this thing at scavengerlife.com. And if you want to go to the forum, scavengerlife.com/forum.
Forum, so easy.
You can join. It's going to say you can't join. You have to send us an email. Then we'll approve you because we're in no spam zone. You can call and leave a question or comment like the people did today.
Phone number is 540-407-8486. Or you can email us an audio file, thescavengerlife@gmail.com.
Yep, we're here every Monday. We're still here.
We're here.
It keeps happening.
Yeah.
And on Wednesdays, our friend Steve, who keeps doing it.
He keeps
every Wednesday
making a video for
he makes
us.
his cool video about the stuff.
Every Wednesday,
sells.
I'm like, oh, he sold this. He sold this. He sold that. Here's the doggies.
Yep, people have a lot of fun over there. And you can hear our other podcast or your.
You ain't a part of it.
I know I'm not. I'm a founding member, just so you know.
Shampooandbooze.com. My sister and I were talking about short-term rentals. We started doing more videos.
Yep.
It's super, super
just
fun.
Just where you guys are like taking Airbnbs and like saying if they're ugly or hot or not. Is that it?
Yeah. No, I mean, the last few we've been like doing little critiques, and people have been sending us amazing properties where we're like, okay, here's how you can work on your listing. Here's how you can work on your photos. Yeah. Or everyone should be inspired by this design because it's amazing.
And there was a woman that sent her photos of her place, and you guys gave her advice, and she changed it, right?
Well, what's amazing is, so she has an amazing place, right? And we're like, your place is amazing, but you need to clean up your photos. You have too many. That day that we published it, she was like, oh, I did it.
Yeah.
It looks so much better. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, shampooandbooze.com. We have a YouTube channel. You should watch our stuff. It's really fun.
Yep, and if you're new to all this and you're like, who are these people who say I'm going to die? You can subscribe to us through iTunes or through YouTube, and now through Spotify. So you can
Spotify and Google Podcasts.
Hear us every week. And if you want, because I will throw this in, I don't talk about it a lot, we actually have an archive of the podcasts that you can actually pay us. It's kind of the one thing we actually sell.
I got to pay for server space.
We will give you a download link to all of our archives in order. So if you just want to buy it and put it on your iPod or your phone and hear it all at once, that's also on our website. If not, it's all free online.
On
so
everywhere.
You can just figure it out.
I do want to say real quick, thank you to people who have been giving us tips in the tip jar lately. Yeah. I just want to say that's really nice.
Yeah.
And it helps us pay our server costs, which is great.
Pays our phone bill. It's great.
All that stuff. Yeah. So thank you for the tip jar, people.
Okay. Sell trash and be free. Kind of free, yeah.
Kind of.
This podcast is ending in 3, 2, 1. Bye.
Bye.